want to welcome everybody back to BUFORD PUSSER, the other story, where we discuss all things BUFORD PUSSER. Tonight we're going to discuss Charles Russell Hamilton. Now, he was the last person we know of that BUFORD killed. Now, Hamilton, like so many of the other characters in the PUSSER saga, he has a very interesting and very complex story. Most people know that Hamilton killed McNairy County Deputy John York back in 1931. But what many people don't know is that he went on to kill several other people, and each time getting out of prison for some reason that is a little hard to understand. For instance, in 1940, he killed his wife Gracie. In 1951, he killed his 40-year-old mother. Then, while in prison, he killed an inmate. After he got out of prison and was employed, he killed a co-worker. Now, we're going to get into some of those deaths in another episode, but tonight I wanted to focus on the night of December 25th, 1968, when BUFORD killed Russ Hamilton. Now, the story goes that BUFORD was at the sheriff's office and talking to his girlfriend, Lady A, on the telephone. And he started getting phone calls from Don Pipkins, a man who had been an auxiliary officer for the Selma Police Department. Pipkins would complain that Hamilton was drunk, out of control, making threats, threatening to kill him, and for some reason, here, Pipkins, a former auxiliary officer, didn't know what to do. Now, Pusser told him, you need to call the Selma Police Department. It's in the city limits. It's their responsibility to take care of. And Pipkins told him, I've tried that, and they're afraid to come out. They say that they are afraid that Hamilton will kill them. So Pusser allegedly angrily hangs up the phone and heads down to Peach Street to Hamilton's apartment to take care of business. When he gets there, he walks up to the door and says he knocked on the door. Hamilton said, come in, which BUFORD did. As he walked through the door, he said that Hamilton pulled a firearm, started shooting. One round hit the door facing, another shattered the handle of his revolver, and the third shot went across his side and abdomen, and leaving him with a wound there. Now, I have to wonder about all this story, because Pipkins would allegedly tell people that he and his wife had left right then and were not present during that shooting, saying that they went to the post office to check their mail. Now, who goes to the post office on Christmas afternoon, Christmas evening? Didn't make a whole lot of sense. What made even less sense was they left their kids there at home. Now, if Hamilton was threatening to kill Pipkins, why would Pipkins leave his kids at home? Now, some have said that didn't happen that way. I don't know. It's McNairy County. You know, a lot of times the truth is really hard to come to. Stories go that what actually happened was that BUFORD arrived, went in, and shot Hamilton in the head right between the eyes. What really gets you about that is that Hamilton was seated on the sofa like that. He wasn't trying to get up, wasn't trying to do anything, and it was a small caliber handgun that was used in the to shoot at PUSSER. Now, I will say that after the shooting, rather than going out to his car, getting on the radio and calling in to let the prosecutor know that he had been involved in a shooting and had killed Hamilton, he went down the street a little ways to Lady A's house, went in and told her that he needed to use the phone, that he had just killed Hamilton, and that he was wounded. Lady A has told people that while Buford was on the phone, she would walk over to him, lift his shirt to check the wound, and that all she saw was a red mark, not a real bullet wound, but just a red mark like a scratch, and that Buford was pull his shirt down to keep her from seeing anything more. Now, Buford didn't go to the doctor, didn't get any kind of medical treatment for this wound, but that's one of the wounds that he's credited with receiving. Now, who knows if the story's right. Buford said he had never had any trouble with Hamilton before. Hamilton had worked for the highway department. He had worked at a car dealership there in town. Buford did say he would often get intoxicated, and that was the only kind of trouble that he would be in. So you have that. But the thing is that, like I say, Hamilton had killed several people in the past and had always gotten out of trouble, getting out of prison, avoiding a lot of prison time. You would think somebody that had killed 5 people would have either been in prison for life or had been executed, but somehow he always got out. Well, the interesting part about this story is I found records that indicate that there might have been some legal hanky-panky going on. And it's one of those things where, you almost suspect that it's like people would help Hamilton get out of trouble because they needed a favor. Hamilton and a friend of his were known to do drive-by shootings with a shotgun, or at least that's what's been alleged. So, in the next episode, that's what we're going to get into. We're going to talk about some of these other people, how that they were killed, including his wife, his mother, Deputy York, a number of others. And we're going to get into some of these records so that you'll understand how that he managed to stay out of prison. It's, like I say, Hamilton, like Towhead White, Junior Smith, Louise Hathcock, they all had complex personalities, how that they could be good one moment and terribly evil the next. And Pusser was the same way. He had a complex personality. Now, before I leave here today, and I apologize for keeping the video short, I'm beginning to get back up to speed, but it's been a long haul since I was in that accident. But I do want to remind everybody that I will be over in McNairy County on October 19th. Going to meet with Dennis Hathcock. We're going to do the meet and greet like we did back in May. Ought to be really interesting because, well, we're going to start out at the park there in Selmer. Going to have coffee and donuts for everyone. Give us a time to shake a few hands, take a few photographs, get to know everyone. A lot of you will be interested in meeting each other because always before it's basically been on the Facebook page or the YouTube channel where we have a chance to chat and exchange thoughts and so on. But it's always nice to get together in person. Now, after we leave the park, what we plan to do is go to the crash site where Buford lost his life. That'll be on the way to Adamsville. Now, Steve Cromwell just so happened to be at the crash site shortly after Buford was killed. And he's going to tell us what all he witnessed, what all he heard. It was a really interesting story to hear back in May, and I think you'll enjoy it in October as well. At any rate, we'll hear Steve talk about that. We'll get a look at the place, be able to take some photographs, and then we'll head on to the museum there in Adamsville. Now, that's the only charge that there is going to be for this, and that money goes to the museum itself. I try to help the museum when I can. So anybody that wants to see the museum, it is really a great place to go through and see what all is there. There's lots of stuff that relates to Buford. And it's just kind of nice to walk through the house where he lived. We'll leave there, and what we plan to do then is take the route that Buford took to the state line the morning of the ambush, when he and Pauline were headed to the state line. Now, we do plan to, on the way down there, stop at the Methodist Church there on New Hope Road, take some photos, so on, let everybody get a look at it. That's where the ambush party was supposed to have hidden and laid in wait for Buford. Then we'll go 7/10 of a mile on down New Hope to the bridge, the first ambush site. There we'll also stop. People can take photos, so on. After that, we'll drive down to the second ambush site, 2.1 miles on further down the road. More photos. We'll try to explain what Buford said happened and what the evidence shows happened. And after that, we'll drive down a little more than a mile to the state line. And that's where the Plantation Club, the Shamrock Restaurant were located on the Mississippi side of the state line. And then we'll also see where the Shamrock Motel sat on the Tennessee side, along with the White Iris. All interesting places to see. And while we're right there, it's also where Dahmer White's store was. And that's where Buford first stopped after the ambush and spoke with Albert Kitty. When we leave there, we'll go down Highway 45 to Guy's Chihuahua Road. We'll drive by where the old hickory once stood. Then we'll go down to where Willie B's. The building is still there. It's been changed, it's been renovated, but the building is still there. From there, we'll circle around and go to Eastview. Now, Eastview is, when we get there, that we'll have a chance to see where Buford and Pauline stopped, where Buford was found by Selmer Chief Hugh Kirkpatrick and other first responders. After that, we'll head on into Selmer. And when we arrive there, we'll go to the courthouse. We'll have a chance to go down and see where Buford's office was supposed to be. And then we'll go up on the third floor to the jail. And you'll see what a 1960s era jail looked like. Selmer is lucky in McNairy County. They've got a new justice center now. So things have changed a lot. But it takes me back to when I worked at Benton County in the early 70s. So a lot different. So at any rate, I'll leave you with that. Look forward to seeing all of you that can make it at the meet and greet in Selmer. Hope to make some new acquaintances, new friends, and at any rate, until then, just remember, the truth has no agenda. Thanks for being here. Be sure and subscribe and hit that bell so that you'll get notifications of new videos when they're released.